Hi, my name is Danny McGuire, and I'm the Executive Director of the Public Service Institute here at Calumet College of St. Joseph. This is our podcast. In this podcast, there's dialogue between myself and some students from the undergraduate program. This is part one of two in a great conversation. Stay tuned. We're going to be dropping these once a month, and they're about 30 minutes long, and I think you'll find some interesting dialogue in these podcasts. So thank you, and thanks for listening. Hey, everybody. This is the Calumet College of St. Joseph Public Service Institute podcast. And this is the first podcast we're doing, right? And the interesting thing about all this is that we're going to be using students in the program to convey what is going on at Calumet College and what it's like to be a public service or public safety professional. Public service is a unique type of employment, I guess you'd call it, right? It's a job, right? But as we said, service over self makes it a little bit different than other jobs, right? This is something that's special. You're serving somebody else. There's a mission and a calling bigger than you to do it, right? So today's topic is going to be going back to school as a public service, public safety, law enforcement, whatever their jobs are, professional, and maybe some of the difficulties and challenges that they face, right? I don't like to use words like weakness or failure or anything like that, right? We like to use the word challenges because we can overcome challenges, right? Some of those are things they kind of mean that you really can't overcome these challenges, right? But we can overcome challenges. So my first question to our panel, and I have everybody named, student in here, because the participation is important and I want them to speak freely, right? Some of them have enabled their video, others haven't, and that's okay. Moving forward, we'll probably do the similar format. So those of you that are watching this podcast, this is meant to be informational and maybe help you make a bigger decision. Hey, I want to return back to college. Is Calumet College Public Service Institute programs what I'm looking for, right? So I'm going to ask our participants, when you were making the decision to go back to school, what were some of the things that you were weighing, options you were weighing? What made this program more appealing than maybe others? Go ahead. Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you. Might as well go with Angel, and then when you figure out your, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my goal was always to finish school. I think with like I might speak for the majority of us. I think for me it was possible it would held me back this long was a busy life, family life, and my career. And I think one of my biggest anxieties was to try to juggle all those things. Um, Trying to juggle all those things together and making sure that that finish I finished something that I started. And I think that was just one of my biggest things that kind of drew me back. But I think Calumet College just had a great format. I think it's tailor made for um, guys like myself who presently have our careers. We're seeking advancements in our current profession, and I think it's just tailored in such a way where it just eases everyone's anxieties. And I could probably say for myself that I speak very highly of it. I try to encourage uh, other officers to join the program. Um, I kind of ease their own anxieties and tell them, hey, I felt the same way like you guys. I haven't wrote a paper in 20 something odd years. I mean, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. I mean,
It's
some of us,
intimidating. It's
yeah, it
intimidating.
most certainly is. I mean, but we do it every single day. And I tell, some of my coworkers, I'm like, hey, our profession, man, we have to, we're writing most of our day. So we can do this. we can do this. It's just more your own anxieties and your own worries about something that you can finish. So I try to encourage everyone to go ahead and do it. So yeah, kudos to Calumet. I appreciate you guys so much, because if it wasn't for you guys, uh, the way you guys tailored this program, I probably might have not finished school. And I'm glad that I've taken this direction, and I'm motivated. I want to keep going. I definitely want to finish my master's degree. Um, and who says you can't, right? At 50, I'm doing all this at 50. So why not?
Education is ageless, right? So one of the things that I wanted to mention that you're a frontline leader in your law enforcement agency, correct? Right.
Yes.
So leadership is a big thing. When you make that jump into the next level here, it's going to focus on a lot of leadership, right? Because it's administrative, right? We're looking at public administration. And as a frontline leader in your agency, right, um, you will get some classes waived for you, right? You'll get two in that because you've already had this extensive training in your agency. This particular student works for a large Midwestern law enforcement agency whose initials may be Chicago, right? So there you have it. Um, so, going back to our discussion, some of the things you said really, it stands out to me, right? Some of the things you said really stand out to me. And one of those things that stands out is the ability to maneuver between family and work and all these life roles you have, and being able to go back to school as a student at Calumet College in the Public Service Institute. Let me ask you this question as a follow-up. When you're weighing all of that, is there anything that we do at the college that helps you navigate that system? Is there something in place here that makes it maybe more appealing than, let's say, going somewhere else? Um, I don't know. I'm asking your perspective on that.
Um, I I think the whole program as a whole. I mean, the accessibility. The instructors. I mean, I've had a positive experience with just about anybody. Um, I the way things are set up, the discussion boards, your daily assignments is pretty kind of cut and dry. Um, the the instructors like yourself they've been awesome. Anytime I have a question, whether it's by email or by any other communication, it's always been spot on. So that kind of eases my anxiety as a student. Because you always want to finish your work, you want to make sure that you're doing it right. You want to have the accessibilities of your instructors to ensure that you're turning in the work right and its proper format, and everything's just been really positive for me. I came in probably to be honest, I'm like, well, I'll finish my BA. Kind of the borderline of being promoted where I'm at now. And I needed my BA, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just finish that, and if I get promoted, so be it. I got it, I got it. But I think the experience has been pretty positive, and I'm actually motivated to finish my master's degree. I just really like the way things are formatted, and it's what can I say?
Do you think that utilizing Zoom to deliver it? Because when I first got here, right, there's a couple things. When I first got here, I surveyed all of the students and I said, hey, why are you coming back to school? Right. So the top three answers I got, number one was to prove something to myself or my family. Education is value. Number two was to get promoted within my job. And number three was to enhance my abilities on my job and possibly look towards another career when I've done my maximum amount of time in service, right? Do something else. So one of the other aspects was when I first got here is we were on the ground, right? We went to the Chicago Police Academy at night, and then during the day we rented a space at another college downtown. So some of the issues that arose with that from students voicing to me at the time was the driving downtown in the morning, right? The time allotment, the parking cost, the technology in the college that we were at was spotty, wasn't very good. And then also the same thing at the police academy, like driving to get to class at 9 a.m. downtown Chicago. They said it would take them, an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to drive maybe 10 miles. Right. And then same thing at night, 6 o'clock at the academy. So I wanted to come up with some sort of option, and having my education experience vast and varying in different types of deliveries, I found that Zoom, at least for me, gave me this ability to attend class with still having some sort of personal interaction, right? I might not be in the classroom per se, but I'm very much um, engaged through Zoom. So we piloted this system that we do now, and then I surveyed the class, right? The classes who took. I think there was about 100 students that received this delivery over 2 semesters total. And I asked them, what did they think of Zoom? 99 of them said, I love it. I don't have to drive anywhere. I get off my shift. I can come right on. I don't, and then I can go right to bed so I can get ready for my next shift. And they loved it, right? There was one person that said they hated it, but they don't like technology, period. Right. So, I mean, obviously you have to have some sort of willingness to try technology. So we adopted this system. And since then, it seems like our program has grown, right? People have expressed the ease, right? So from my perspective, it's always been a data-driven decision, right? We surveyed the students. They said they loved it. We're going to go in this direction. By the same token, it's about being flexible for you, making more options for you as the public service professional, right? Your jobs, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, have been where, days off canceled, 12-hour shifts, different types of unique situations that maybe have challenged us that really haven't challenged us before in the field of law enforcement. So giving more options to the student to attend, get a quality education while still being able to serve, still being able to take care of families, right? We're a Catholic institution, so I always say that priorities for me are God, family, work, right? God, family, work.
I agree.
Right. So I think that
So,
students gravitate towards that, right? So when we made these options to have it done by Zoom and then use Blackboard as an enhancement, right? To stay within our accreditation limits, right? Because we have to have a certain amount of supervised seat time, things of that nature. So we had to create supplements with Zoom. And now we're piloting a program where you're part of this, where we're doing one live delivery a week instead of a 9 a.m. and a 6 p.m. because some of our suburban brothers and sisters say, hey, I work 12-hour shift. I start at 6 in the morning. I get off at 6 at night. Right. I don't want to go to school right at 6 p.m. And if I'm working at 6 a.m., I can't attend class at 9 a.m. So we have to make even more flexible options. Right. So I think that options are important. Do you think these options have impacted maybe some of your decisions to move on in a master's or even continue here at Calumet College?
yeah, I mean, I would, the funny thing about that is I was probably one of the 1% where I'm like, I need to be in the classroom. I need the one teacher over my shoulder to look at what I'm doing because I might not know what I'm doing. Um, I, like I said, it's just kind of great. I think you touched on something that was very important is my own anxieties was like, okay, well, here I am, I'm 50 some years old. I'm gonna go to a classroom full of a bunch of people half my age. This is like made for TV.
Yeah, right.
Um, like, hey, here, let's ask the old guy over there on the corner. But
I just told the story yesterday in a master's class. I had a student, and I said, I came on the job in 1992 was my first full time sworn police job. right? And I was a explorer in 1989 and a community service officer in 91, 92, right? And the one student was kind of, you could tell on Zoom when they're thinking something, right? So I asked him, I said, well, hey man, what's so funny? And he's like, I wasn't born till like 1998. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for that. Right. Or one guy was born in like 2000, right? I'm like, oh,
Right.
I have kids that old. If I were still on the job, I'd be in year like 33. I'd, complete 32, be in year 33. Like it's a different world that we're in. And but here's the thing. The most important thing is that you have incredible experience, right? You have incredible experience that a younger generation officer could gain. It's pretty direct the way I say this, and you've heard me say this before, right? You've heard me say, would you rather learn from the guy who's been punched in the face, right? Or would you rather learn from the guy who read about being punched in the face? And the topic is being punched in the face, right? Like you have to make that decision on who, who it is you want to learn from, right? Pete, you jumped in. Are you good now?
I am good, Professor. Can
There
you
you
hear me?
go. Yeah,
I
you
had to
got
change
it.
computers. I apologize.
No, no, no worries. No worries. No need to apologize. That's what makes this podcast. I love the rawness, right? So while you were gone with technical difficulty, we were just discussing like um what separates this and people's challenges coming back to school and how the options are there. And I discussed how I surveyed the students I piloted, and now you're part of a pilot for one live delivery to make it even more flexible and give more options to our public service professionals and partners. So what is your perspective on this?
So I was able to catch the first panelist on here, his comments, and I mirror a lot of what he said. It really it is tailor made, and I do try and share my positive experiences so far, which I'll go into momentarily with anybody who's willing or who is contemplating, I should say, attending going back to college after so many years. For me, it was 30 years, a little bit longer possibly. And initially started for me, my reason for initially going back to school was it was a tough decision because I was afforded the opportunity to be promoted in my line of work. And in doing so, I had to have a bachelor's degree, educational attainment, they call it, on file. And unfortunately, I had not. So I was urged by my supervisors that were willing to promote me to go ahead and achieve that, and acquire that. So that's my first reason for going back to school. But then in talking to some coworkers, I learned about this program at Calumet College of St. Joseph, the public safety degree. And I learned I wouldn't be intimidating at first, I'll be honest with you, because I didn't want to be in the classroom with a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds that I have nothing in common with, both in life experiences, interest, and maturity level for that matter. So once I found out that I was be attending classes with other like-minded folks, and I found out just how easy it was to go back to school, how the process was streamlined here at Calumet College, and how it would incorporate my previous college credits I had, and also some life experience I acquired on my job, that they would apply it as credits as well. So then I was put in contact with Jacqueline Cruz. And I don't know what the rules are on the podcast as far as
No,
like
you can
saying,
say it. You can say
okay,
it.
saying names. I wasn't sure. Okay, so, but I cannot praise Miss Cruz enough.
Yeah,
She
she's
was
awesome.
extreme. Yeah, amazing. She was extremely helpful in taking the time to go over my transcripts and let me know what my necessary requirements would be to obtain my bachelor's. She even did all the work by scheduling it for me and stuff. So there's also, I sing her praises, amazing and great to work with. There was also another reason for me to go back to school. Recently, a family friend by the name of Bob Dwyer. Once again, I'm not sure if I can say names, but Mr. Dwyer is 92 years old now. He decided to go back to school at the age of 90. And when he went back to college to obtain his degree, and he was successful in doing so, it was a big motivating factor for me. I mean,
Awesome.
at the ripe age of 55, I'm pretty sure I could do it then. But um, some some other things that I contemplated was tuition reimbursement was a played a role. It wasn't a deal breaker one way or the other though. Uh, so that the other thing was just a support system and going back to school. I'm going back and attending classes with other like-minded individuals who most of them are in the same profession as me, and whose goals or interests are the same. And also, the same can be said of the instructors of the classes and the program I'm currently attending. They are have a complete working knowledge and understanding of the type of work I'm in. Basically, it, predominantly because they walked in my shoes. I mean, and they're passionate and knowledgeable about the material being taught. Um, so since I started this program about 2 years ago, I've changed my goals a little bit. I no longer wish to pursue a promotion, but I definitely want to continue to attend Calumet College. I found it extremely enjoyable, and it's really truly provided me a healthy balance in life, both in my work experience, work balance, school balance, and life balance. I mean, it's just been good for my mental wellness. I mean, as a police officer, we again, I don't know if I could say that. Gosh darn it,
Sure. You can
but
say, listen,
yeah,
you can say what you want. I'm just trying to, navigate,
yeah,
because in today's world, you just never know which way it could,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which way it
um,
could go.
yeah.
All the things you're mentioning are great, right? So one of your fellow students who couldn't be here today emailed me something and said he wanted that. I said it's a he. Um, it's someone you're in class with couldn't be here and emailed me this and said that he will try to make the next one or two recordings we do. And his statement to me was the Public Service Institute at Calumet College of St. Joseph offers an outstanding experience for public safety professionals. The programs are designed with incredible flexibility, making it possible to balance work, life, family, and education seamlessly. The faculty at the Institute bring a wealth of real world experience to the classroom, offering insights that go well beyond the textbook. What really sets CCSJ PSI apart is the personal attention. Students are not just numbers here. Every faculty member is deeply invested in each and every student's success, offering guidance, mentorship, and support every step of the way. Most importantly, the environment fosters a sense of safety and openness, allowing students to share, learn, and grow without hesitation. It's a place where professionals can thrive both personally and professionally.
I echo that completely. He said it much better than I did, but 100% in agreement with that. That nails it, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
at least for
spot
me.
on. Yeah, they're definitely spot on in that assessment. I think what I do like about this, and there's a certain intimacy, with the people that take this class, and that's what I find probably the most enriching, right? Because a lot of us are kind of somewhat similar age groups. We're kind of, where some of us are frontline supervisors, and a lot of the things that this class does offer is just a networking between the classmates, right? Because we get together and we kind of share our experiences and our knowledges, and we're kind of ready to navigate certain situations that we might have not faced before, or we kind of share our experiences so that way the next person doesn't fall into the pitfalls or doesn't make the same mistakes or things of that nature. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I like about this class. I mean, Peter and we've come across each other and in training, and we talk about stuff, which is kind of cool. I mean, I might have not maybe seen Pete through comings and goings and stuff, but now that we're in the same class, we're like, hey, that's my guy. So there's a certain family intimacy kind of when you take the course. I think that's a cool thing.
In essence, a support system. I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Speaking of that, I have another addition that a student from another class had contributed. I had told other students from other classes I'm teaching this semester, they wanted to jump in this morning, they could. And this individual said, I can't make it today because it's not my regular day of class. But he did want to lend some comments, right? And it says, as a student at Calumet College of St. Joseph, I immediately feel a sense of camaraderie within our cohort. The flexibility of the programs made it easy to balance my career with my studies. But what really stood out was the supportive environment. We weren't just classmates, we became a team, learning from each other's experiences and growing together. The faculty fostered an atmosphere where we felt safe to share our challenges and successes and made the learning experience even more meaningful. At CCSJ, you're more than just the student ID number on your ID card. You are part of a community dedicated to helping each other succeed. Sorry.
Yeah. It's
You
great.
know, it's pretty impactful when they read that as the executive director of this. You know, I don't know if I introduced myself in the beginning of this, but I'm Dr. Danny McGuire, and I am the executive director of the Public Service Institute at Calumet College. And reading these things from people, asking people for input, you know, reading these things really gives me a sense of like pride in the fact that we're doing a good job. You know, when it comes to hiring people for, you know, adjunct instructor or even full-time here, I really take a lot of time in balancing when I make decisions like that. You know, especially adjuncts, when I came here, we kind of revamped and gave a lot of opportunities to people who might not feel like they had an opportunity to be that. And that speaks to our, you know, our commitment to the diversity and giving people a different viewpoint, right, within our system. So when I read things like that, it tells me, yes, you're doing the right thing, right? Like I might get assessed by my supervisor at the school or whatever it may be, you know, but at the end, I don't give a hoot what's said there, but I do give a hoot on what I'm reading here, right, on these emails. So it gives me a sense of pride in knowing, you know, and for me, uh, you know, we had a faculty luncheon this summer. This is the first one we ever had. I like to call it the inaugural, right? And the marketing person, Kim Grotto, laughed at me because I kept saying inaugural, right? So it was like a big joke. And it was an inaugural faculty appreciation awards luncheon. And we gave awards to teachers that everyone voted on, right? We gave out those awards. And we had some really great awards. We gave lifetime service. Then we gave the St. Matthew award. You know, he was like an evangelist, one of Jesus's, you know, 12 apostles. You know, we gave that to one of the chiefs within the Chicago Police Department who's an alum, you know. And one of the things that I said to all the faculty was, to me, this isn't just a job, right? To me, this is continuing on with the service that I committed to and the oath I took a long time ago, right? It's just my population I serve is you, right? The students. So for me, it was important to convey service over self to them, and that I have personal relationships with each and every one of you. When people walk across that stage for the master's degree, you'll see when you graduate with your undergrad, right? And you'll go into the master's program. People, I get to put their hoods on, right? It's like a cape, you know, when you get your graduate, and then when you get a doctorate, it's bigger, right? So when I put that on them, I'm getting hugs. I got one guy pick me up, you know, I'm getting kisses, I'm getting high fives, handshakes, you know, and every time for the last few years, we always have a commencement speaker come in. And since I've been here for 6 years full time, right? I've been teaching here since 2007, but I've been here full time since 2018. I always have the same question from the commencement speaker. Like, you have this incredible connection with your students, you know, and it's happened twice, right? It happens in different ways, the way it's conveyed, the question, but 2 times they've been very direct. You have a very strong connection to your students. How, you know, that's a good thing. And I said, that's because they know I care about them.
Yeah.
I have a personal relationship with each and every one of those students. They know that if they call me in their darkest moments saying, I want to quit school, I'm done, I know it's a cumulative stress and trauma thing, right? As someone who's highly highly educated in psychology, do mental health therapy, do coaching.
Right.
I know, right, what it is. It's cumulative stress and trauma. So I take that time, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, to spend texting, calling. My weekends, as I tell my supervisors at the college, the president, she said at that thing, her father used to tell her she could put 5 pounds of stuff in a 2-pound box. And she says she thinks she met her match with me. And I tell them my job just is not a 9 to 5er, right? My job's like a 6 a.m.er to probably like 10 p.m.er. And that's about 7 days a week, right? Because of student engagement, being engaged in the community that we serve here at Calumet College. So by the same token, when I hire adjuncts, I want the same thing. I want someone who understands that may have sat in those very same chairs that you are in, or in these little pods on Zoom, saying, hey, we need to make a difference in this person's life. And we could be, for me, Calumet College saved my life, and I know I shared this with you in the wellness class when I taught you, right? I was in a dark place in my life. It was very, very negative. My son had just been diagnosed with autism. He's 24 now. He's like a 3-year-old, right? So it's a challenge, right? And my job on the police department was becoming more challenging, and a lot of things were going on. My personal life, my marriage was falling apart, and a friend of mine said, hey, I'm going to this information session at the academy about Calumet College. And I said, why the flip would I want to go back? Like, I'm going to complicate my life even more. It's the best decision I ever made. Calumet College saved my life. And that led to all the rest of the stuff you see back there. 3 masters, a doctorate. Calumet College was the foundation that I built that house on, right? It's like the St. Peter, right? It's like Calumet College is like my St. Peter, right? The rock that we'll build our church on, right? Calumet College was that for me, and also my faith, right? Everyone needs a little Jesus in their life, right? Everyone needs
Absolutely.
that, right? So having that foundation, when I say this stuff to you all, right? What thoughts does it provoke? What do you think of all that?
I think you said it best, man. And I think that's the way I look at my own leadership skills, right? Because if you invest a little bit in people, amazing things happen. You get the best of them. And that's one thing that I've learned throughout my career and being in leadership positions, from the time I was a sheriff down to drill instructor in the boot camp, down to coming to CPD and then becoming a frontline supervisor. I've been in leadership positions before, and my approach has always been to invest in people. And I've gotten, well, you're too nice, or you're too this, or you're too that. No, man, you this is just, you got to be who you are, and if you're genuine, you're gonna get you're gonna get positive feedback. People are drawn to you in such a way. You're positive. People love that energy, and that's one thing that I've learned, and that's one thing that I've taken throughout my career, and maybe to all the way to the finish line. I mean, that's just. I mean, you said it best, Danny. I mean, you're positive. You share your experiences with people. People can relate to that, and that's why they are what they are when they see you. And that's just a great thing. That's amazing.